Decades after the event, small pieces of the past kept resurfacing, sometimes in unexpected places. A torn page from an old ledger, a faded photograph in the back of a drawer, a name scribbled in pencil on the inside cover of a Bible, and slowly the picture began to sharpen like a fog, lifting over an abandoned cabin. One of the most surprising discoveries came from a letter, folded 4 times, creased at the edges, tucked inside a rusted tobacco tin. It wasn't addressed to anyone. It wasn't signed, but the handwritten matched the era and the message. It changed everything. The letter described a witness, someone who saw what happened that day, someone who stayed silent for years because they believed no one would ever believe them. The details lined up too perfectly to ignore. The location, the time of the day, even the weather. It painted a moment that was quiet, almost peaceful, a moment where history shifted, not with the shout, but with the whisper. And then it introduced a new mystery. A second person, someone whose name had been erased or forgotten, someone who shouldn't have been there but was. Their initials were written only once in the bottom corner of the page, barely readable, just 2 letters, but enough to start an entirely new line of research. Who were they? Why were they there? And why did their involvement disappear from every official record? That question sent me searching deeper past the normal archives, into stories passed down in families, the kind you only hear at kitchen tables during late night conversations when the truth finally gets brave. And in one of those stories told by a woman in her 90s, everything clicked. She described a man her grandfather used to talk about, a man who helped quietly, stayed in the background, and never took credit. A man who wasn't born important, but chose to matter anyway. Her description matched the initials from the letter. For the first time, the missing piece wasn't missing anymore. Once you add that person back into the story, the whole event makes more sense. Their role wasn't big, not dramatic, but without them, it wouldn't have happened the same way. They were the hinge of the door, the moment that turns everything but hardly ever gets noticed. And that's the part that hits me the hardest. History books are filled with loud people, the ones with power or armies or voices that echo across centuries. But the quiet ones, the helpers, the unnoticed, they usually fade away. This time they don't have to. Because when you trace a story back far enough, when you peel back the layers and let the truth breathe, you learn that history isn't just about events. It's about people. People who loved, who hurt, who tried, who failed, who kept going anyway. And some of them, the ones history forgot, are still waiting to be found. That's why this entire project is about not rewriting history, but restoring it. Bringing the pieces into light, letting forgotten voices speak again, and reminding us that every event, no matter how small, was lived by real people who mattered. And maybe, just maybe, the past isn't as distant as we think, because every time we uncover another piece, every time we bring another story to surface, we're not just learning about them, we're learning about ourselves.